Okay, I think we can end it right there. Welcome back to Surface Unscripted. Tough weekend for the Box. Tough weekend to support the Box. Tough weekend to support Dricus. Tough weekend to support the Proteas. Tough weekend as a South African. But oh well, not all doom and gloom. Robin, brother, how are we doing?
Yeah, recovered after the weekend, barely. What is it, Tuesday today? Still feels like a Sunday. Um, I find myself doom scrolling on all social medias, being humbled by every single sporting code that we possibly could play in this past weekend. We lost. So just, seeing all the edits, running through all the comments, seeing Matt Williams' face in disgust. And it's not been pretty. It's not been good. But we live, we learn, we move on. How are we going to structure this? Are we going to let's just rant for the next 5 minutes?
Well,
I think we
do
deserve.
we require a rant, seeing that the Box did it purposefully to get the underdog storytelling going once again? I mean, we know we don't really like to embrace being favorites and stuff. So obviously, the long term game plan was to lose the first one, get ourselves written off, just to kind of get the storytelling going again. Where we can't even win at Ellis Park, and now we expected to win at Eden Park, right? That's kind of what the Box we feed on stuff like that. So it was in the game plan to lose all along. If you don't agree with that, you are wrong. So should we rant? Or should we just say no? Listen. We're trusting Rassi and the game plan.
I think the comments deserves a rant because they're going to be ranting themselves after this video gets posted. We'll post a couple clips on all social medias as well. I think this channel, our supporters, and many South Africans out there deserve a little rant.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Listen. By the way, I was kidding. That was definitely not on purpose. I said the same thing on TikTok, and people coming at me. Oh, you can't seriously think that. I'm like, are you fucking brain dead? No. Obviously, I'm joking. We did not lose that on purpose. That was, and I know some people say calling it embarrassing, right, is harsh. It was embarrassing, right? If in terms of where we always say when we always throw it in other fans' faces, right? That we're setting the standard, the best in the world and stuff. You've got a 22-point lead against Australia, who, by the way, we've said it for the longest time that Australia's a good team. Don't write them off and stuff, right? But the narrative was like Australia shouldn't even have the Lions touring to them. They're just too bad. Right? This is the same Australian that everyone's been writing off and stuff, and they come to Ellis Park, 22-point lead, and they just absolutely destroy us, dismantle us. Yes, was it a very bad performance by us? Yes. But I don't want to take away anything from Australia. They were so good. They were so good. At the breakdown, line out, their attack, they stood up defensively after that first 18 minutes, and they got what they deserved out of that game. I told you that I've got a weird feeling about this game. Remember when we were sitting at the bar watching the game, scoring our 22nd point? I told you if they score from their first attack, shit's going to hit the fan and I'm going to get nervous. What did they do? They scored from their first or second attack. And it was just like, oh shit. Just felt it right from there. Momentum swing. And that's what happened. Right? Do you agree? That's what we discussed, and literally what we discussed right there at the pub table happened.
It's a weird one because I remember us going up 22 points, myself and Casual high fiving. He almost broke my wrist a couple times. And it was probably one of the best starts to a game of rugby that I've seen from the Box. The way we were playing, the way we were moving the ball. Mani had the ball on a string. We had cohesiveness. We had Ibn Etzebeth. It looked like Ergis Sneem in a disguise. I've never seen him do so many offloads in a game. And you could see how effective it was because he would draw in so many players trying to dominate him physically. And he would just pop the ball off to Grant and we would send it wide. And then all of a sudden, we started defending like a junior high school rugby team that have been together for a week and had their first sip of Sky vodka. It was absolutely astonishing. Like, fair enough, Australia did super well, and we'll get into some of the things that they did well. But when it comes to the tries that they scored, did they really work hard for those tries, Casual?
Um, I think they were clinical. By the way, everything that we say, whether we're being harsh on the Springboks or whatever, we're not saying that in terms of taking away from Australia. Right? Australia were brilliant, right? But obviously, South Africa scripted. We're focusing on the Springbok performance. The fact that we're looking at those breakdowns, and Grant Williams was the first guy to break down the whole time. We focused so much on attack that we just didn't even focus on getting our own ball back. Australia not only clinical in terms of their attacking play to score the tries, right, but clinical at the breakdown. 13 turnovers, seven lost lineouts, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. Crazy. Clinical when they attacked. I think they worked hard for those tries because they defended well and was counter attack tries, right? We're not going to take away from their attack because it was counter attack, right? Like they were clinical. They took their opportunities. If that was us, we'd be saying the same thing, right? We were clinical at the start and then we just folded completely. Completely everything that we did well right out the door. And in the end, I know people have been jumping onto Marnie in terms of his defense and stuff. And yes, Marnie was defensively weak. He missed all his one-on-ones. But you look at some of the other missed tackles. Example one, Harry Wilson breaking through Auxon Cheb. I don't know what he was tackling. He just kind of let Harry Wilson beat the line. Like he just wasn't there. He didn't make an effort. Nothing like that. You look at the try from Harry Wilson again, right, where Tom Wright broke through. Is that Marnie's fault that he got beat on, or with Tom Wright running on him, ball going out to Harry Wilson? He could have probably done a bit better. Missed tackle from Kanan Moody and from Jesse Krill. Both should have taken Tom Wright right there. Defensively all over the place. Is it Marnie's fault that there was one skip pass that takes out 5 defenders? Where the fuck was our defense on the wings? Right, they kept on going around us like it's game. Like it's a little game that they're playing in the park. It was crazy. It was crazy to witness that defense. And everyone talks about our defense. We play such boring rugby because we only defend and kick the ball. Well, might have to go back to that because whatever was out there, our defense was nowhere.
Yeah, look, we can definitely both agree to the style in which we're playing at the moment that it is attractive. Like I said, that first, you know, quarter of the game, there was definitely improvements in the way we were playing, the way we innovated, the structure in which we were playing. But when it comes to playing that sort of attacking Tony ball style, you need to be defensively sound and you need to have your rucks in check. So what I feel like happened was I still remember watching the game, and it was amazing to see the stuff that we were doing. And I think we took Australia by surprise in those first couple of minutes. And then they started making a few adjustments, and they said to themselves, "Look, it looks like they're going to play full on attack. Rusty's gone 5-3 split on the bench. This is what we're going to be up for the entire game." And they came back in that second half, and they were clinical at the breakdown, made so many steals. They made sure they put pressure on the lineouts. I think at a stage we lost so many lineouts, we just decided to do a midfield lineout when we were already 15 points behind. I'm like, we're doing midfield innovation lineouts.
We
Yes, it
didn't
looks
even
cool.
take it into contact, by the way, which makes that useless. You're just taking out 5 attackers.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like if there's going to be such a focus on the attacking aspect, I don't mind it, but we cannot go away from our fundamentals when it comes to the defensive side. And Australia acknowledged that. They would have spoken about it at halftime, and they would have put pressure on the right places to force those handling areas, to force the skip pass intercepts, the knock on from Andre Estes, and get all of these, breakthrough moments where they could come and score some opportunist tries, and they did that, and then we found ourselves on the back foot, and were absolutely abysmal when it came to field possession at first. Whenever we got possession in their half, we could do nothing with the ball because we would either lose the line out or we would make a handling error or give away some stupid penalty. So there's a few things that Rassi would have tried to correct this week, but is a week enough, Ivan? Is a week enough?
Well, I've got an interesting talking point. I'm afraid, and I feel like this will come into fruition, that because of last week, we're going to go back to, we'll see pretty much a 2019 Springbok gameplay, right? And not that I have a problem with that, but it's kind of the principle of it, where it's like we've taken so many years, so many games building with the Tony Brown system that if we just revert straight back to that, is that good for us in terms of taking steps back to how we played in 2019? Because then Tony Brown might as well be useless, right? So a week isn't probably enough to sort out a full attacking and defensive structure where those two kind of align with each other. But if we go back to 2019, then it's like, well, isn't this steps back to what we've kind of been trying to evolve into our game? Now, this is only if we try and do that, but I'm just feeling like we're going to overcompensate and go back to that. I'm not saying that we're going to lose with that at all, because I think overall, if you look at the scrum still and stuff, still smoke them at scrum time in terms of physicality and those type of things, right? So this is not a negative knock on that, but just in terms of the stuff that we've been building for the past few seasons, and people have been talking about, thinking about how crazy the Springboks are going to be when we get that attacking flow and stuff. Do you have the feeling that we're going to overcompensate and go back to that, which could be a negative thing in the grand scheme of things, if you get what I'm saying?
Well, if Rassi were to do that, I think it just puts doubt in some of the players' heads in terms of their attack again. Because even though we can go on and on about how bad that performance was, there was glimpses of so much progress
Yes.
in the way that we played. So I wouldn't like to see that. Do I think we will see it? Probably not. Maybe we'll be a little bit more tighter. We will utilize our kicking game a bit more now that Pollard will be starting this week. So yeah, I don't think we will reform back to what we were in 2019, but it is always good to have a balance, and that's maybe what we needed over the weekend. As soon as we saw Australia get a bit of momentum in the game, we should have just tried to switch it up a little bit, put pressure on their wings with some nice, good contestable box kicks, turned into a possession sort of style of play. Because as soon as a team starts getting momentum and your defense isn't up there, sky's the limit. And Australia took all their opportunities with open hands. So we just need to sharpen up on our defensive side. And then I think bringing a bit of variation when it comes to, our kicking aspect and physicality, and then the attack as well. If we can get a good blend of that, it should do us good.
Just a final talking point before we just quickly chat about the team that got announced to take on Australia this weekend in Cape Town. I want to give some. I know we gave props to the Wallabies, the way that they just dismantled us. But I need to give props to Joe Schmidt, right? We've spoke about him multiple times. One of the best, if not the best, coach in the world, right? Because look at what he's done for Island Rugby, right? When he came in there, kind of transformed them before they got taken over by Andy Farrell. You look at the All Blacks, the way that he transformed them. You look at the things that he's doing at the Wallabies now, right? And the way that he just finds a way to adapt in the middle of the game. Example one, the Lions' first test, right? Look at the way that they played there. Arguably should have won the second test. Destroyed the Lions in the third test. Goes against us, gets dismantled in the first 18 minutes. Let's say the first half, right? Because we were pretty dominant the full first half. Second half comes out, has a quick word, changes some tactics, and all of a sudden they just smoke us, put 40 points on us unanswered. Joe Schmidt is the real deal. He is an insane coach. Props to him for the way that he just gets his team to adapt the way that he sees the game and manages to make changes that actually influence the game. Once again, could this be the same thing that you've mentioned before, that the bomb squad just isn't the bomb squad, right? Like, two things can be true at the same time, but yeah, mostly props to Joe Schmidt, just the way that he kind of took made changes and it affected the game brilliantly. Right? Do you have anything to add to that, or are you thinking we just go on and talk about the lineup for this weekend?
Yeah, I think you've said majority of it. I think kudos also to the players, to just back the system. You could see that when they came out in that second half, there was a different vibe to them, and even what I liked, even when they won that game, it wasn't a big celebration. I don't know if you noticed. It was, obviously they were happy to win, but they haven't won there since
63.
1963 or something
Yeah, crazy.
like that. That is a crazy stat. Like, we looking to go to Eden Park and break a streak that has been held for a long time. They just did that, and like it was no one's business.
Mm.
And then they were super chilled afterwards. They were happy with their performance, but no one celebrated. Like these plastic Irish fans or English fans whenever they win a scrum penalty. It was just a calm, collected, okay, thank you for the win, next job. And I think that is scary. That seems like a team with a bit of momentum and positivity in their camp. And I think they're just going to increasingly get better and better. And if the Boks aren't careful, this could be another tough one this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, they took 5 points, right? 22-0 down, and they took 5 points from that game. That is crazy. Utterly crazy. Anyway, let's talk about the team. As Robin mentioned, there was a lot of positive takeaways as well from the game, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and say it was all negative. Yes, it was a bit of an embarrassing performance if you take the whole thing into consideration, right? I do believe the Wallabies are a proper team. I don't mind losing against the Wallabies. I understand teams lose, right? It's not the end of the world or anything. It's just the way that we lost and the situation that kind of all unfolded there. But we have got the team announcement. We'll chat about that. But as always, people, please do remember to hit that like and subscribe button. We do appreciate you guys coming on this journey with us. Just fans chatting a bit of rubbish with no filter, just saying what we want, saying what every fan kind of, not every fan, but fans of rugby and of the Springboks feel out there. So yeah, please do remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Anyway, front row. Let me actually just get it open before I actually get some of them wrong. Starting off in the 1-2-3. Oxenche, Malcolm Marks, and we've got our big boy back from his sabbatical, Thomas the Toy. You happy with that? So it's just the one change with Volko going out for Thomas the Tank.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Bit of a quiet game for Volko. I mean, our scrums look good. They weren't as dominant as what we've previously seen, but that could just be down to Australia, fronting up there. So yeah, happy with that front row. Look, Malcolm is going to have to work hard this week with the team to try and sort out those lineouts. I don't know if it's primarily on his shoulders for those mistakes. It could just be a whole setup issue. And then Ox, we're going to need to see. Yeah, we'll blame him.
Yeah.
And then Ox is going to have to bring a little bit more this week. We've seen time and time again where he has a quiet game, and then within 7 days he comes back and he puts in a man of the match type performance. So I'm hoping he can front up and do well this weekend.
Yeah. Block pairing. We've got two changes out there. Ergis Snyman back into the mix. Feel like we really missed him off the bench last weekend. He's starting in that 4 jersey. Rowan Orkia in that 5 jersey. I'm not gonna rant about that. I like that. Those are two very hungry guys. I'm excited to see Rowan Orkia every time that he steps onto the field in the green and gold jersey. He's scintillating, right? So fully deserved into the Lucy's, Marco van Staden, Franco Morster, Jean-Luc Dupria. You excited for that one?
Yeah. That is I mean, it's a different back row. We haven't really seen that much. If you were to tell me last year that would be our back row going into a rugby championship, I'd say you're probably silly. But I mean, kudos to Eskom for his performances that he's been put in. He was one of the probably, if not the best player last week for the Boks. So I'm glad to see him, getting his flowers. And there's not much said about him on social media, and I think people should look into his game more and try and see the difference and changes he's also made to his game. Franco Mostert on that flanker. Just give me 2 seconds. Looks like Rassi has put my light off.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, obviously we've got the two injuries of Sia Kolisi and Peter Steph Tutoy, right? So we kind of forced in there. We've got no eights, so John Luke gets that eight jersey. I'm excited to see what they do, right? Because all of these guys they're fighting for positions. John Luke literally played 40 minutes against the Barbarians, then had to go um, on leave because he had a baby as well. So I mean, he'll have some fighting spirit. I'm pretty sure that he'll pull through. I was impressed with him against the Barbars, so there you go. Grant and Andre. I thought we might see a Sasha, but Andre in there, if he can kind of take the way that he played against Georgia, the way that he attacked the line and stuff, which was sexy to say the least, then I'll be fine, right? Because the way that he played against Georgia, he still got that backline flowing, and that was kind of the criticism that he's been getting over the past few games and stuff. But if he brings that to the game, I have no qualms with it. Okay, so moving into the backline, as you can see, it's just myself because Robin's internet is like a dead fish. It is crazy, right? So Grant Williams, Andre Pollard, I'm happy with it. I thought we might see Sasha Feinberg and Gomezulu, but if Andre can take some of the stuff that he showed against Georgia, I'll be happy. I'll be happy because the way that he played in the backline there was kind of sexy, right? Which is what we kind of want from Andre because that's the criticism that he got in the past few, let's say, past few games, last season or whatever, like that he can't run the backline like the other two. But he impressed me against Georgia, so I'm more than happy with that combination going out there. Back to basics with the centre pairing of Damien Dialinda and Jesse Creel. Maybe Andre Esterhazy feels a bit hard done by because him and Eskom, they were the two guys that were at like standout performances. So I feel maybe it's a bit harsh to leave him out. But I mean, if you leave out if you leave out Andre Esterhazy for Damien Dialinda, who's probably the best inside centre since Maanonu, are you really going to have a problem with that? Jesse Creel needs to step up. Obviously, he's the captain. He had one off game, right? So I'm not going to be too harsh on him, but it wasn't his best performance out there, right? We're not used to seeing Jesse Creel miss tackles like that. On the wings, Cheslin Colby, Kanan Moody, obviously injury to Kurtley Orense, which is never nice, but Kanan Moody's form has been out of this world. It's kind of since Jake White told him to get off the buffet, sneakily telling him he's fat, right? But he's been great. Cheslin Colby, obviously, you know what he's going to bring to the table. And then finally, you might not like it, but he should play, right? Because Fassi struggled. Willie Leroux just bring some calmness to the table. I know he isn't defensively the best, right? But he runs the back line. He understands the defense. He calls everything from the back. That's why everyone loves him. If you listen to the way that the players talk about him, the coaches talk about him, he's just one of those guys that he's the player's player, right? Onto the bench. None of this bullshit of 5-3 stuff. None of that normal rubbish. We're going with a 6-2 split with Marnus van der Merwe, Bone Venter, Volker Low. Volker Low, he has to step up. He had a very quiet game, as Robin mentioned earlier. Then Yemenets a bit off the bench, Luriacher off the bench, and Kwagga Smith off the bench. It's good. It's good. I don't know what game some people were watching where they've been harsh on Eben. Maybe my eyes are just deceiving me, but I thought Eben had a good game. I thought he was fine. Obviously, dropped off a bit. The same with the rest of the team. But especially if you zone in on that first 20 minutes, the way that he was taking the ball up hard into contact, he was brilliant, right? And then dropped off. Kobus Reinach and Sasha. That's your 9-10 pairing for the Stormers as well next season. So I'm excited to see that. But anyway, that wraps up the full 23 to take on Australia in the next game. Let us know what you think about it. We do appreciate you guys as always. Sorry that it's only myself now and because I actually have Robin. But we'll see you next time with the both of us. Hopefully no technical difficulties. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Go onto our social medias like TikTok and Instagram and stuff and show us some love there as well for the short form content. But anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Ciao.